loves, how's it going? Hope all is well. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to talk about a very serious topic. Today I'm it's a little sensitive to me because, you know, if my mom was to watch this video, I feel like she'll feel a certain way. But in 2019, I told myself I would be a little more open on my channel, just have a little more conversations with you all and see your thoughts and see your opinions and just see if some people feel how I feel, you know. So today, and it's going to be a lot of arms in it, it's going to be a lot of me talking a little slow because it's not that I don't want to say the wrong things, I just don't want to be hurtful to some of the people that I know still in the church, or to the people that follow me and watch my channel that went to the same church that I went to. But basically, as you guys can see from the title, my title is Why I Left the Black Church. I just want to talk about me growing up in church. Like growing up, like staying with my mom, one thing that we had to do was go to church. Like no matter what we did on a Saturday night, if we worked, if we did anything, we had to be in church. And that's just something that my mom preached. Like there was no playing games with that. She also made us like feed the homeless. On Saturday mornings, we'll have to wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning and we'll go feed the homeless around downtown Fayetteville. Like she did a lot of things that made us be like humble servants to others, and it kind of helped us become better people. Because with my mom and my dad, they always give. They give us what we ask for, but we also have to give to others as well. And they give to us when they feel like we are well deserving. And that was one of the things that I tried to show my mom, not only with my academics, but also with my service and how I treated other people. With growing up in church, you know, we had to be in church every Sunday. We had to be active in the church. So the church that I went to in Fayetteville, at first it was a small church. Like it was a very small church. I knew everybody in the church. Like everybody knew each other in the church, and I really did enjoy going to the church. I went to the same church as a lot of people in that town, and you know, we all went to the same schools together. Like, you know, I remember when my pastor had their first child. When my pastors had their first child, like I remember everything. Like I was a part of that congregation for a long time, you know, since like me knowing what God was and me knowing what a church actually is. Like I was very aware of what was going on in the church, and I enjoyed it. Now the church was very small, and I can remember like going to see like some of the office managers, or going to like some of the camps and stuff, like the Bible study camps and things of that sort. I remember going to those, and I really did like it. I enjoyed it. What happened to the church that I was going to when I was back at home in Fayetteville, it just started to grow a little too big for my liking, and I couldn't find a reason to be there anymore. I didn't feel like it was home anymore. I kind of felt that the church outgrew me, and it wasn't about all the people that were in the church anymore. So at first it started with a small, they broke the back of the church to make it a little bigger for the pews, to add more pews to it, because our church was small, but a lot of people was hearing like how good our pastor was, so they were coming, and we were getting like so much membership. It was ridiculous. So they broke the back of the wall of the church, and then they added more pews to it. That was the first construction. Then they had another construction. This was like a couple of years later, and they broke back the wall again. They added on to the side of the building, and they added more pews. They added another little seating area for the choir. Then they added like a booth where you can get baptized. So they did all that. So then it was just like more people coming, and you know, now the church is getting a little different. Now the word is getting a little different, and the people of the church are different. Now it's not necessarily us coming to the church as we are. We started to go to the church, and it was like you were walking into a fashion show. Like, literally, people weren't just coming as they were anymore. Like, people were wearing their when I say Sunday's best, their Sunday's best. Like, and it started to get a little bit like, is this a competition? Because you'll see sister over here and then mother over there, and then it's like, oh, I gotta buy this, I gotta look like this, I gotta do this. And it started to be a little, you know, competitive. And at first, like, our thing at that church wasn't the hats, it was the purses. Like, people will have like competitions with designer bags. You'll see someone with a Louis Vuitton bag this day, and the next Sunday you'll see 3 other people on the same pew with that same bag. Like, it was starting to be a little competition with the people in the church. So you know, I didn't let that bother me and things of that sort, because I'm just like, you know, that has nothing to do with the word. So then the church got even bigger. The church got even bigger to where they bought the strip. So they bought the back of the parking lot for more cars to park. They did that. And then more people were able to come. More people were able to come. More people were able to come. So then they had construction again. Like, when I say it went tiny to a mega, like, it went tiny to a mega in the span of 10 years. So then, like, it got so big to the point where it got uncomfortable. So then they, instead of us using that church, the main church that we used to use, that wasn't even considered the main church anymore. That's where they had, like, the children would be there. They had some of the Bible study classes. Like, they changed that whole little area, and they built a multi-million-dollar church right there on the road. And when they built that church, like, it was so big. Like, it was huge. And if anybody been to Atlanta and they went to Elizabeth, that's on Cascade, that's exactly how it was built. Like, it was huge. So y'all, I did not last, I would say, 5 Sundays in that church. As soon as you walk into the church, you see ATM machines. That's something that I despise of in churches. I cannot stand seeing ATM machines in churches, and that's my personal opinion. I just do not like it. I feel like it's a fishing for money. That's just me. Then I noticed, and I'm not saying anything is wrong with the pastor of that church, but some of the activities that happened, I wasn't okay with. So then the offerings. Now, I was used to us doing 2 offerings, but then you'll be in church and they'll ask for 2 offerings, and then they'll have a special offering. I didn't like that either. Now, one thing I can say that my pastor has always had. Now, my thing is, it was the church. The church outgrew me. It wasn't necessarily my pastor. It was the people that was in the church. And I'm going to talk about one incident, but let me just talk about my pastor, because my pastor isn't necessarily a bad pastor or anything of that sort. But the people that helped him run the church, I did not like. He did say some controversial things regarding his take on people and his take on society and his opinions. Like, my pastor will be the first person to stand up in church and say, if you're gay, you're going to hell. My pastor has said that several times, and that's something that was cringy to me that he has said. And there's some things that we just don't agree with. You know, he is of the old school belief, and there's a lot of things we don't agree with that he say, but I can say he always educated me and he helped me get a closer relationship with God. But back to the people of the church. Like, I had a very close friend in the church, and her parents were very, very active. And I remember when she was in high school and she got pregnant, I no longer seen her in the church. And one day when I was talking to her and I asked her why, like, what was going on while you weren't in church, and they literally condemned her for having a teenage pregnancy and not being married. They wanted her to get married to the guy that she had a baby by, and she did not want to do that. And that just kind of made me feel some type of way too. The people were starting to be a little more judgmental. They were starting to look at everybody a little funny and look at us all a little funny. Like, I remember we have jeans day in church, and like, we could come as we are and things of that sort. And once it got really, really big, it was kind of like, you can't do that anymore. But when I moved to Atlanta, off of my church, but when I moved to Atlanta, that's when I really, really lost my likings for black churches. I went to 3 churches in Atlanta. And one was small, and the other 2 were kind of like considered mega churches, but not really. So the small church, I enjoyed the church, but there was a service that they had, and literally, you guys, they stopped the service. And they talked about all of the ministers that was on the stage that did not pay their tithes. They literally had the office manager bring out a list of people that did not pay their 10% to the church. And that's when I decided I was never going back to that one. So then I went to another church, and at that church, it was a really show me church. Like, you could tell as soon as you walk in, it was a show me church. Now, what changed my viewership, now I went to the church, I say I went there for a good 2 or 3 months, but I just could not get with the new stuff. Like, I really couldn't get with it. So when I first got there, they had the ATMs and stuff like that. I cannot stand seeing ATMs in the church. I really did not like that. But I was like, I'm there for the word. And I liked the way he taught. Like, I like preachers that teach lessons throughout services. That's the type of preacher that I like. So I did enjoy that. But I noticed the more and more and more I went to that church, the more stuff used to bother me. And I'm talking finances. Like, if a pastor liked what he liked, if he liked the finer things in life, that's fine. But I did start to notice little things. I did started to notice that, we'll have a fund. Like, they had this financial restoring thing, and like, they're like, restore your finances, right? Restore your finances. And I'm like, oh, these are classes that we could go to help us with, student loan debts or paying off our car or purchasing a house and stuff like that. And they'll be like, all for a down payment of $199. So you have to pay $199 to the church to learn how to work out your finances. So I'm thinking $199, you have over 20,000 members. Well, that's an exaggeration. You have over 2,000 members, however many members. Why do you need that? A lot of the classes that I'm used to going to in the church were often free. Like, I remember one summer I wanted to do Bible study throughout the summer, and you had to pay for the classes. I've never seen anything like that. And I understand people's time are not free, but I'm like, what are we doing with the funds that are often given to the church? And at that church in particular, you can text in your funds. You can you can send your funds online. They have an online link. They also have an app where you can turn in your funds. And they turn around and they have a collection plate that goes around twice in the church. So they are collecting their money some kind of way. So the money thing was the main reason why I did leave the black church. The second thing was like the show me thing. Like, even the pastor got the Gucci belts on, the red bottoms. Like, even the pastor, everybody in the pews and stuff like that, they outdoing each other with the outfits. And, it's kind of like you standing up, not to say preach, pastor, but you standing up so you can show what you just bought. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know I'm probably judging people in which I should not judge, but I promise y'all, this is exactly what I seen when I went to these churches. Like, this is what I see. And other than the show me thing, the third thing was, and I feel bad for saying this, but I know in the media right now, like, there's a lot of pastors out here, and I'm going to just say this, and I really don't want to speak about this incident, but I'm going to speak on it, even though I don't. I went to a church back home, and the pastor was married, and the pastor was cheating with one of the women in the church. No one knew about the affair yet, but he was cheating with one of the women in the church. And he would sit there every Sunday, and I knew the reason why I knew he was cheating with the woman in the church, because I knew the woman he was cheating with, and I knew his daughter. Me and his daughter actually went out together, and I knew that he was sleeping with both, okay? From the daughter. So I was literally be at service, and I'm listening to him condemn other people for their sins and talk about what they do wrong, and he's sitting here, a living proof of someone that does the same exact thing. And I'm just like, how can you sit here and preach this but you act like this? And it makes me think about the situation that's going on with the John Gray and him cheating on his wife. Like, I literally just seen a clip of TD Jakes praying over him and saying that he just had to get the spirit of suicide out of his body and rebuke that. And it's just like, what is going on with some of these prophets? Like, what is going on with some of these people that call themselves worship leaders? Like, what is going on? Because everything looking a little green leafish around here in these streets, and I'm not liking it. And at this point in my life, I really feel like I should just cut the middleman out. Because, like, honestly, in 2019, I had faith on my board, but for 2019, I really believe that I'm just going to follow and have a first-hand self relationship with God instead of having a middleman, because I'm starting to believe a lot of these middlemen, and the middlemen I'm saying is like the pastors of the church, and you know, some of the first ladies and some of these people. I'm starting to think that a lot of these people are false. Like, they're faking and they're doing a lot of things that they're not doing. Like, and what makes me mad is that, and I know they can't save the world, but, you know, I can't tell celebrities what to do with their money. We can't tell celebrities what to do with their money, blah, blah, blah. But some of these churches, the reason why the churches is here, the church is supposed to help the people. And when I see that they're not helping the people, it gets under my skin. Because we give so much money to the church. Like, when I think about tithes and stuff like that, my mom is a very 10% type person. My mom and my dad makes a heck of a good salary. And when I say they pay a whole nother salary to the church every year, like, they are very, like, my mom's like, I don't care what you do, but you got to pay your tithes. Like, she is serious about that. And when I think about who she could be giving her money to, it hurts me. But she always say, you know, I don't think about that. I know that I'm giving it to the Lord, and I know I'm giving it to the Lord's people. Like, she don't think about once they cash that thing, what they doing with it. She just knows that she's supposed to do what she's supposed to do. But for me, I feel like, I don't know if it's our generation. For me, I'm just like, what are you doing with it? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when I think about taxes and stuff, like, what are you doing with my tax money? Like, what are you doing with it? Like, I want to see some type of return. I want to know, if I give you this amount of money, where is it going to? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know if I go feed a kid in Africa, at least they send a picture back of who I'm feeding. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to know what y'all doing with it. That's just me, because I feel unease sometimes. So those are the reasons why I left the church. You know, I know this video is all over the place because, you know, I did sugarcoat a lot of stuff. I did say some of the things that I did not, you know, I wasn't comfortable saying a lot of things because my mom is heavily in church. I have a lot of friends and family that watch me on this platform that are heavily in church. But I did want to put it out there because, you know, I do want them to understand, and I really feel like it's other people that can relate to me. I do a lot of videos because I feel like people can relate to me, and I feel like people can relate to this subject. So as far as my faith, I am going to continue working on my relationship with God, but it's going to be a one-on-one. I'm taking out the middleman, unless I can find someone that I can truly trust and find someone that I can truly, you know, truly believe that they are there to help the people, like, help us. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. And another thing, I don't want to count nobody's pockets and stuff like that. I'm not saying preachers can't purchase, you know, $1 million cars and all this other stuff. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, like, I do want to know what's in return for us. Like, what are you helping us do? Because it makes no sense that you know, your only job is the church. Now, I told y'all my preacher had a 9-to-5 job. Like, my pastor had a 9-to-5 job while he still had his church. I feel like the church outgrew me, not my pastor, even though he has said some things that I do not agree with. But when I look at some of these pastors of these mega churches, y'all got these big congregations and y'all buying all these cars and stuff like that, and this is like your main source of income. Why do y'all still have homeless people in y'all neighborhoods? Why do y'all still have people in y'all church that's probably not eating 7 days a week? Why, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that gets to me. So I hope you guys understand. Please let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you so much. I'm not going to keep rambling. Love you.